as you do. But I'm telling you right now, the moment that you have a conversation with me, I'm going to hold you accountable. So if you're not ready to be held accountable, do not call me, do not text me, any of those things. But even if you're not, I still challenge you to do so because it's very important that we change the narrative. We got to change it. We have to change our mindset. It's very important. So, I just wanted to make sure that people understood. Listen, if someone tells you they have the credit secrets to life, walk away from them because credit is not a secret. It's just not being taught.
Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show, the About That Water podcast. My guest today for the second episode for season 2 is Dell. Dell, thank you so much for joining the show. Dell McClain is the owner of the Peaceful Balance Restored, and he is a board certified credit specialist. So, Dell, if you can just kind of give the audience a little bit of a history about yourself and what made you decide to be a board certified credit specialist.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you so much, for giving me this opportunity to have this conversation with people and really, dive into this. This is an amazing platform. And, I know that you're going to do amazing things with this. So, again, I salute you for, giving me the opportunity, to talk to the people, to our people, and educate them and help them really change the mindset. So, a little bit about myself. I'm originally from California. Right now, I currently live in Florida. So I went from one sea to the other,
Wow.
One ocean to the other. Couldn't stay away from the beach. So about credit, I didn't know about credit until I was about 31 years old. Like
not ever introduced or nothing?
If you would have said FICO to me 3 years ago, I would have thought you were saying something in the foreign language. That's how I was with credit. I knew there was no one around me who talked about credit. There was no conversations about them. So it was never really something that I, put any type of, time into because no one around me was talking about it. Right. So my entire life, I went through stages of just trying to figure out, how can I possibly make this better? Everyone's had the question of this can't be it. Me just going to work, paying bills and, paying rent, paying the car, this can't, there has to be more to this. Right. So, I went through my entire life with those type of questions. Is this it? I'm supposed to be doing more, so many different things. But when it came to me being introduced to credit, it was so much at a crossroads. It was at a point where I was trying to go to college to get into logistics. I used to be a truck driver. I drove, all the states in an 18-wheeler for 2.5 years. I ended up getting injured, and that injury took me away from being able to drive anymore. I lost, 60% of the strength of my left leg. So I was at a crossroads. I had to figure out how to re-walk. I was on crutches for a year. So I had to, relearn how to walk, go through all kind of therapy, all types of things, right? So time where I was finally, getting back to walking and, my normalities, I was trying to figure out what was I going to do in my life. At the time, I was 27, 28, 29 years old. So, 30 is knocking on the door, right? So it's okay, I literally just went through the worst thing, one of the worst things in my entire life, figuring out how to re-walk again at 28, 29 years old, and so I was trying to get into college and it didn't work. It was taking so long for it to work, right? And what ended up happening was my brother had sent me a text message on my way. I was driving up to the college to try to get in. He sent me a video of something about credit, right? And I immediately shot it down. 5-10 seconds into the video, I shot it down. I went up to the college. They was giving me complete it was so annoying. The experience was dreaded. I tried for 6 months to get into college. I was at my wit's end going up there. I say either I'm going to be in the college today or I'm done with this. So on that same, that same day, my brother sent me this video about credit, so when I got there, got through all that, nonsense with the college, and they still were giving me the running around, I was like, okay. So they told me to go sit down in the lobby and they'll be with me in a minute. So I'm in there, I'm infuriated and I'm mad. And I'm like, it's been 6 months. So I opened my phone, and of course, my brother was the last one that I talked to, and there was a video. So I watched the video. I watched it the entire thing, and it made me think about something. It made me really think about something. So I said, let me go home. I went home and I just started really looking into it, really trying to figure out, okay, I've never heard anyone talk about credit. I don't know anything about it. So let me figure this out, right? So how I finally made the decision is when I went online and I started seeing people that looked like me, but they weren't talking like me. Mm. And it confused me because here today, one of the things I tell everyone I talk to is I used to be that guy on the other side saying, man, I can relate to that dude. He looks like someone I can relate to. It's just the way he talks. It's like there's something missing to where that bridge, that gap, I can't figure out. I can relate to him, but how he talks it's like it's a whole nother language. Like remember, like I said, if you said FICO to me, I would have thought you were talking a foreign language. So when I finally realized what that was, and it was literally people were just taking action. So that was the difference between that answer. This business answered every question I ever had. And that was, this can't be it. This can't be all that I'm supposed to be here to do. I spent 29, 30 years running my mouth, talking about a lot of different things. I told the world, I told myself, I made a promise to myself that for the remainder of my life, I will make sure everything that comes out of my mouth is going to be some type of lesson. It's going to mean something. Every word from here on out is going to mean something. So honestly, I joined this business to be something completely different from what I saw. What and the lack of me not knowing myself. I was 30 years old and never was sat down and someone had a conversation with me about credit. That in itself helped me understand. I know that there's a million people out there who's going through that same thing, that they've gone through their entire life and credit was all around them, but they never either dived into it or they never knew someone that could really sit down and say, hey, hold on. No, hold on. Let's figure this out the right way and do it the right way. No, so my first credit card, I ended up getting it after I joined the business and really started to analyze and break down what credit was. I didn't want to do anything with credit until I figured out what it was. Because in my mind, before I even jumped into the business, I thought that credit was for people who were born with it. I was the type of person who joked that I was born with bad credit. I was the one who said, oh, you want to pay, you better staple that on my credit report. Like that was me. I was the one who said those jokes. Yeah, you got to staple that on my credit without even knowing that. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I just heard people say credit jokes about how bad your credit was when you were born. So I just ran with it. So my first credit card that I got, it took me a minute before I finally, because I wanted to do it the right way. There's so many different people out there that, they show you and tell you, oh yeah, you just apply for it here. I really want to understand, okay, I don't just want to get a credit card and just to say I have one. I want to be able to have a credit card that's going to benefit me and help me understand how to show someone else how to do exactly what I did and why it's so important to do it this way. Not that it's the only way, but hey, you've been doing it a certain way. Has it been working? It hasn't? Okay, how about you try this way?
Nice. Yeah, because one of those things that even still, when I was getting my first credit card, they just gave me my mom was telling me just getting a Zales card. just because that's all she knew. You know, everybody
Right.
say get a jewelry card because jewelry are the first people that would actually give you some money. And
Yes. Yes. The
that,
$5,000.
oh, it wasn't even 5,000. It was 300 when I was growing up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a lot of money then. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's back when they was giving the rush cards and stuff. You know,
right.
the Capital Ones. That's when Capital
Oh,
One was really
Rush. Those are Rush cards are
the
new-ish,
rush.
at least for my generation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little older, but it was department stores. So like when Hex was out, Hex was a big thing.
Okay.
Bloomingdale's, stuff like that. So those cars, like Waldorf was not Waldorf, like not the city Waldorf, but it was another department store, and
Yeah.
those were the cars that was
Retail.
just given out.
Retail
Yeah.
credit cards. Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
So
I have a
um
story about that.
yeah, it's crazy how they just snatch up everything, man.
Yeah, listen, and I tell people that all the time. You know, when it comes to retail credit cards, I always say, you got to understand what it is you want to do with your credit, right? You
Yeah.
have to understand before you dive into trying to fix your credit or get your credit where you want it. You have to know what you want to do with it. So I am 100% against anyone getting any type of retail credit card.
Hmm.
And
Why is that?
the
Yeah.
reason why is because I asked you a question. What is it that you want to do with your credit? See, because when let's say you go to, dealers, JC Penney's, Best Buy, Walmart, okay, boom, you get this credit card, right?
Right.
My brother, you need
Yeah.
gas. You need
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
Walmart card? Can
Oh
you get
yeah,
it with
no, I
the
can't. I
dealers?
can't get gas with the I'm
JC
sorry.
Penney,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah, you
right.
can't.
So
Yeah.
then my question would be, why would you limit yourself? Now,
Mm.
most people say, hold on, no, wait, but there's benefits from it. Okay, this is the benefit. When you went to JC Penney's, they said, listen, you can get this credit card and you'll get 20% off of everything you just bought. You went in there and literally just bought a shirt. So you're going to charge a hard inquiry on your credit report, potentially cost you 5 or 10 points to get 20% off of one item one time. Does that make sense?
I see.
And then you can't do anything else with it besides get clothes. So unless you in JC Penney's getting clothes every single day, you're limiting yourself to what your credit can actually do for you.
That is so true. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I don't like department cards myself. But because now when it comes to some of those credit card strategies, I mean, I know we're just talking about after you get the credit card. Well, let's talk before we start talking credit card strategies. Let's talk about getting the credit card. Like you already talked about the exit strategy. Like what is your end goal with getting it? Now that you got your end goal in place, now what is your strategy to pick a card? Like what do you look
Okay,
for in a credit card?
absolutely. So what I look for in a credit card is not even the credit card itself; it's the bank. That's what I look for. Because
Okay.
think of it, any credit card you get, whether it be, let's say, Chime or any credit card, any bank that you can think of, if that bank goes into bankruptcy and they close, you have 5 years of history on that credit card. They if they go bankrupt and close, that's destroying your credit
Mm.
because the card is going to close with it. Everything that they have in that bank is going to close with it. So when people look and they say, oh, well, they have this credit card and you don't have to get, approved. It's pre-approval and you can, okay, well, what is the establishment with them? So what I tell people is, listen, if you're looking for your first credit card,
Mm.
don't look for the first credit card, look for the bank. And when it comes to a bank, the type of bank that you want to look for is a credit union. A credit union is a number one. Anyone, I don't care what level of credit you on, you can have an 800 credit score, you can have a 350. The bank, a credit union is the very first thing that you want to have. The very first thing. The reason why is because you need to build a rapport. You need to build a rapport with a bank. What I mean by rapport is you walk into their bank, they know you by name and face. They know what you're trying to do with your credit. They know that you want to get a car or a house or that you're building to, start a business or whatever the case is. Think about it this way. If you had a best friend and you had someone that you worked with, right? Someone at your job, right? You work with them, you saw them every day, but you really didn't talk to them a lot. Good morning, good afternoon, how's your day? Going about your business, right?
Right.
That person at your job asks you to borrow $500, right? Then your best friend, your right hand man, or your wife, whoever it is, they ask you, hey, I need to borrow $500. Who are you more likely going to give the money to?
You gotta go with the best friend or your wife.
Right. And the
Right.
reason why is because the rapport that you built, the trust factor, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that the person that you worked with doesn't qualify for it, but it just means you built a rapport so deep, so trustworthy that it's the best friend that you're going to give it to, your wife, your spouse, your partner, your sibling, your mother, your dad, versus just a random person. That's the same thing with a bank. A person who's built a rapport with a credit union can get approved for something a lot easier than someone who walked in and they're a random person. Because now I want to make sure that who this random person is, that you actually have everything that you're saying. I got to look at your report. I got to make sure everything sticks versus someone I built a rapport with. And I know from day one, hey, Dale, you said a year ago that you want to build your credit to get a car. We've looked at your credit. We see, you got a credit card with us. We see where your credit is. You can get a pre-approved for a car right now because they already know where you're going. They already have that trust factor with you.
And I guess it kind of gets to the root of the word credit, which is the credibility that they have to build it.
Yes.
And going on along with that, you have your credit score that comes along with it.
Yes.
So yeah, I like how we matched that together. We're gonna take it forward, get it back. All right. So because you got your credit, but then how do you build your credit score is based on the history that you have with other people, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Go down and can you just kind of take back a little bit on when it comes to the credibility to building that credit history up?
So again, basically, you starting with the bank, right?
Right.
And the reason why, again, is because, like you said, the credibility. They're gonna be able to see everything that you are doing with your credit, and there are two things about a bank that'll never change. Okay, it'll never change. One, banks love money, right?
Mm,
Obviously, it's the bank; they love money. The second thing is they love clients that make them money, right? Think about it. Places like Verizon, Sprint, Spectrum, Direct TV, these type of places. They love their clients. They're going to do pretty much whatever they can to keep their clients. Why? Because more than likely, my clients are going to do what? They're going to bring me more clients. So that's
right.
the same thing with a credit union, not a national bank like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. And I have no problem with you having a national bank, but understand when it comes to building your credit, you want to start small. I don't care where you are in your life as far as your credit, start small. The reason why I say start small is because think of it this way, change the mindset. If you're in a small area and you start making a lot of noise, what tends to happen? You attract a lot of people, right?
Yep.
That's the same thing with your credit. People who are 400 credit score, 500 credit score, you finally get up to about 610, 620. What ends up happening? You start getting a lot of credit card offers in the mail, just
That's
out
so
of
true.
nowhere.
That's
Boom,
true.
left and right, left and right. They throwing them at you. Pre-approval, pre-approval. All you gotta do is just sign the dotted line. How do they know that you have good credit in order to send you those credit cards?
Okay.
Let's switch that around. Before they start sending them, how did they know that you had bad credit to where you wouldn't be pre-approved for those credit cards? See, people don't think of these type
Right.
of questions. So what did you do? Well, you made a lot of noise somewhere, and a lot of people want a piece of what you are doing. Again, two things that'll never change. They love money. They love clients that'll make them money. So you have to build that. And in order for most people, what they think of is, oh man, they said I have to have a 720 credit score, and the sky's the limit. No, it's not true. Okay, even someone that has a 720 credit score can still be denied credit because of, again, credibility and your
Right.
credit report. I tell people, okay, you're in the 700s. Congratulations. I will clap for you. I'll stand up, jump, shout, all of those things. Congratulations. You're in the 700 club. But the bank does not care about that. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to say, oh man, wait, hold on. You're in the 700 club. Hold on. What BMW you want? You want this Mercedes? You want a Maserati? What you want? Because you're in the
Right.
seven. They're not looking at that. again, let's just go down the road. What do I mean by that? So let's say that you work for Amazon for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You went to a Fortune 500 company, right? And you wanted to be their financial advisor, right? That's what you applied for. Okay. They looked at your resume and said, oh, okay. Oh, wait, you worked at Amazon for 20 years? Oh man, that's amazing. So you have what? You have
Credit.
credibility.
Yep.
You definitely are someone who sticks with the place and you build there. That's awesome. Let me see your resume. They look at your resume. You were a janitor for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, I was a janitor, but I was with Amazon for 20 years. Yeah, okay, I understand that, but you're asking to be our financial advisor. We have millions and millions and hundreds of deals that we do. So that's what I think of it that way. When they see that 700, they don't care that you have a 700. Does it make sense that you have a 700? Most people have a 700 because they may have 5, 6 different positive, authorized users on the credit report. See, most people think, okay, if I just put all these authorized users on here, get my credit score up, I can just go do whatever I want. Well, you see, most of these banks are going to look and say, that just means that 6 people trusted you to put them on your credit. That's all that meant. What do you have that shows me that you can pay bills? Again, credibility. So when it comes to the start of it, you gotta know that when it comes to building your credit, it's about that credit profile. They don't care that you have a 700, a 750, a 800. They want to know how you got it. Because if you don't have something on it that says, okay, this person know how to pay bills, they know how to pay them long term, and they pay them on time, and they pay them with different types of credit entities, then we have nothing to talk about. If we just gonna put your name over here with the rest of these people that have all these authorized users and no real accountability for what they've done themselves.
And if they do a preview, they probably give you like a low amount, and then you gotta wait and build your way all the way back up again.
Yeah, because it doesn't show what you've done. It only shows that 5, 6 people that trust you to put you on their credit. And there's not really a trust there because you can't do nothing to destroy their credit. But what I mean is someone trusts you well enough to just say, okay, yeah, I'll just put you on there because you're my friend or whatever the case is.
Now, that's one of the strategies, because it brings up the next question that I hear a lot is, what is the quickest way to raise your credit score? But like you said, it's a mix of, like how you just said, it's how much have you personally put in? And then like, what is your skin in the game? And then the mix of credit. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the quickest way for you to increase your credit score is a credit card. It's the quickest way. There's nothing faster than that. And then how you use it. What most people don't understand is the breakdown of it. See, when I have a conversation with someone, I break down what credit actually is. Mm-hmm. Do you actually know what credit is? Most people say, oh yeah, credit is, you get you a nice car, you get you a house. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's the
perks of it, right?
Those are perks, but right. Do you actually know what it is, right? So when it comes to building, what I explain to people is 80% of your credit score calculation has to do with a credit card. That's 35%. 35% of your credit score is payment history. They want to know, are you paying bills? Are you paying bills? Are you paying your bills? How many bills are you paying? That's what they're looking for, right? 30% of your credit score calculation has to do with amounts owed on that credit card. Are you using 30%? Are you using over 30%? What are you using? What do you owe when it comes to credit? How much of credit are you using? 15% of your credit score calculation has to do with length, how long you've had it. Have you had it for 2 days, 2 months, or 2 years? How long have you had credit? So if you add those up, that's majority of your credit just off of a credit card alone. Now I have many people tell me, "Oh, Dale, hold on, though," because I was told if I can just get a car and get a high car note, man, if I just pay that thing every single month, my credit is just gonna skyrocket, especially if I pay it off early. I'm sorry, the person who told you that, I don't. They weren't that very. They weren't truthful to you, because a car note, that's an installment loan. Installment loans they build your credit over time, not quickly. See, when the banks are looking at your credit, or the three credit bureaus, when they're looking at your credit and they look at that car note, the only thing they're looking at to see is are you paying it on time? Are you paying the car note on time? Are you paying it on time? Okay, he paid it this month of time. She paid it that month. Okay, cool. He's been paying it on time every single month. Where the credit card is, are you paying it on time? Are you using 30%? Are you using less than 30%? Are you paying the entire thing off, or are you just paying the minimum balance? How long have you had this credit card? Like, they're looking at so many more things versus with with the cars. So what I tell people is, you want to start with a credit card. Now, I get a lot of people who say, man, listen, the horror stories though, man. Like, they say, if you stay away from credit cards, you'll stay away from debt. And it's like, I mean, hold on, wait, I
Ooh,
just ask the
somebody said
question
that.
though?
Somebody said
Listen,
that.
I've had so many people tell me, Dell, I don't like owing people. And I
Mm,
say, hold on. Okay, I just see. I like to analyze and then break things down. Okay, hold on. What are we talking on right now? Oh, a cell phone. You own your cell phone? No, I don't. It's an iPhone 11. I just got it. Okay, so you're paying a monthly payment on this, right? To talk to me, right?
get them, Dell. Get them
So you
right.
owe someone.
Yeah.
Okay, you said that you go to work, so you have a car, right? Is you own it? No, I have a monthly pay. So you are paying someone to that car. You owe someone the money for that car. What about the car insurance? What about the house that you live in? Like, I need you to, like, you heard a horror story about something that said, oh, if you get into this, it'll destroy your life. Well, if you don't go to work for an entire week, how are you gonna pay your rent?
Mm.
So we can't just put a statistic or a mindset on or horror stories. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to debunk all of those horror stories that we heard about credit, that we heard from our mom or our auntie or our grandma that said, no, do not get a credit card. Those are those are evil. Those things will destroy your life. When in actuality is, on, it's all about responsibility. It's all about accountability. It's all about the information, understanding how it actually works. And then most of us, we're more in tune and trying to figure out how to quickly get to it, instead of understanding how to build to it.
And I like what you said there about one of those scarcity, not scarcity, as far as those fears of credit. And one of the things that I do to try to help people to understand credit a little bit more, I mean, because I'm not a credit specialist like you are, but I try to teach it from an elementary perspective. It's like
Mm.
when you're 5 to 7 years old and your mom is at the stove cooking in the kitchen, and you just see the kid run around, the first thing that she says is, do not touch the stove. Even if it's
Mm-hmm.
off, she said, do not touch the stove. And the first thing most kids will say, they'll say, hot,
Yeah.
hot, mommy, hot. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's hot. But every household, do you see a stove in there? I
Right.
bet you there's one. You probably can't even sell a house without a stove. You probably
Right.
could, but somebody will pay for it. But either way, you're going to have a stove in there. Now, are you afraid of the stove? Yeah, if you're not careful with it, you can easily burn yourself, burn down the whole house. Same thing with credit. That's how I try to treat it the same way. It's like, if you're responsible with credit, you can have wonderful things. If you're responsible with the stove, you can eat wonderful foods.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're horrible with the stove, you're not going to have tasteful food. If you're horrible with the
Yes.
credit, you're not going to have wonderful things.
Right. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. I like that. I might have to use that. I'll credit you, but I definitely might have to use that, because I mean, it's very true. It's how you use it. Again, that's why I tell people, before we even get into what you want, what is it that you want with, do you understand what credit is? What is it that you want credit to do for you? Then we can figure out how to get to that. And the thing, see, because what most people do is they'll only talk about all the good things that'll come with credit, the good things that'll happen when you get your credit together, the good
Yeah.
things that'll happen, once you have that credit card, or once you have, that loan. I like to talk about what happens if you don't pay that note on time? What
So let's
happens if
talk
you
about
don't
it.
pay that credit card on time? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One missed payment, one missed payment can cost your credit score anywhere between 90 and 120 points, 50 and 120 points. One
Wow.
missed payment, whether it be from a card, a credit card, anything. And that has to do, that's the 35% of your credit score, payment history. 50 to 120 points can be docked from your credit. So again, think about it. You've been building, you've been sweating, you've been on it. And then 1 month you forget or you didn't pay it or whatever the case happened. What I tell people is you need to treat your credit the way you treat air.
Mm.
It's very
Okay.
important to have, right?
Yeah.
Now, why do I say treat credit like air? Because again, most people aren't going to look at credit the same way. Well, what I mean is, like, let's go back to the credit cards and department store cards. Why would you limit yourself? I don't care what it is that you're trying to do. Everyone has rainy days. Everyone's been in a situation, and it's the and what I mean by I like to have the hard conversations is there are too many of us who are not holding ourselves accountable and understanding that there's a lot of us that are one accident away from being in debt. One accident. And that accident had nothing to do with you. It literally could have been you was 10 and 2, looking forward, checking mirror. You was doing everything right. And then out of nowhere, some crazy lunatic or, something happened where you ended up in an accident and you have nothing to show for it. What I mean by you have nothing to cover you for that. Those are the type of things that credit can be used for. Credit is a lifeline. It's literally a lifeline. I live here in Florida, and we have hurricane season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a lot of people say, you got to have $500 to $1,000 in your savings account, for a rainy day.
Okay, that's Dave Ramsey. Yeah, that's Dave Ramsey.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, come to me with
we got to dive into some Dave Ramsey, but we go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people come to me with a lot of things about it. That's okay. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love to be, I love to do those type of things. But how many people actually have that? That is my question. So who, and if you do have it, what is that audience that you're talking to? See, I'm talking to the audience who doesn't have that. I'm talking to everyone though. I don't have a specific audience I'm talking to. I'm talking to everyone, but especially the ones who don't have that. So wait, hold on. You telling me that I could have credit cards with $5, $10, $15, $20,000 on them just sitting underneath my mattress in case something happens? Now I don't have to do fish fries and fundraisers or anything like that if I get into a situation or a jam. That's what I mean. I'm talking about just a lifeline, something that literally is there to help you whenever you're in need. Whenever you're in need, for no reason whatsoever, but just to know. My grandmother, she used to say it all the time. Don't you rather want to have it? Wouldn't you rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it? So again, why would you limit yourself? Why would you limit yourself because of the fears and things? See, fear is not real. So why would you limit yourself to these horror stories and all these things you're here? I tell people all it changed the mindset. I understand it's so many different influencers and credit people out there that say all kind of different things, right? So it's very hard to really get the message, which is why I go so hard in making sure that people find me. That's my goal. People to find me.
But then there's the ones that are true diehard Dave Ramsey fans. When they come to just cut up the credit cards, pay off the debt, and I don't want to deal with them anymore, and they want to go cash whole only. I understand that this probably episode isn't for them, but for the people who are thinking about that route, who are listening to Dave Ramsey and also listening to this show, what will be your advice on that one?
One of my favorite sayings. There's more than one way to Walmart. Change Walmart to success. There's more than one way. Think about it. How many times, and it doesn't matter, Walmart, Target, whatever store you visit, Public, whatever. Winco, whatever. There's more that I'm the type of person, I get bored. I don't like going the same route like this. I like to figure out, okay, I can actually hit this back street and go that way, and actually I can come back around it. So there's more than one way to Walmart. I'm not saying that this is the only way, but I'm asking anyone is one question. Why would you limit yourself? That's all I'm asking you. Why would you limit yourself? That's it. You don't have to put yourself in a position where you think you're going to be in debt, right? Or you think, or you owe. Again, those people who they're so afraid, or they hear things like what Dane Ramsey say. I don't have a problem with it, but my question to you is, why limit yourself? Why limit yourself? Yes, I know real estate agents who did real estate without credit. I know, stockholders, who are successful in stocks without credit. I know, business. So everyone has their niche. Everyone has what they can do. But my question to anybody is, the United States of America is credit. You can walk into a bar right now, order 10 drinks, and the bartender is going to say, what? You want to pay for this now,
right?
Or do you want to put this on what?
Credit.
On credit.
Yep. And then if you don't pay, they can write it off.
Nobody else can do this. So why would you limit yourself and say, "Oh, no, I don't want nothing to do with everyone else." I understand. Save up your money, pay off everything, and you want to. But again, if you're talking about you don't want to owe anyone, we got to go down the list of things that you actually owe. If you have a cell phone, you owe somebody. I'm sorry, you owe a cell. If you have a house, you have cable in there, direct TV, Netflix, like. You owe someone in order to get those services. So what are you saying? Are you saying you want to limit the things that you owe? Okay, that's fine. Let's limit them. But again, my message to you is, you have $25,000 in your savings account, right?
Right.
You want to start a business. You use that $25,000 for that business. And then this situation, I'm not going to say it, but the situation that happened in 2020 happens.
Right.
That $25,000 is gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
The business is done. What do you do now? It took you 5-10 years to save up $25,000.
Right.
So most people say, "Oh no, I'm just going to go back to the drawing board and redo it." Hey, hold on, what? Why would you limit yourself? Why would you not just have that in capital? Why would you not just have that in credit, so that you'll be able to just use OPM, other people's money? Yep. One of my favorite words, OPM, other people's money.
So that's what I would tell them. Okay, so what I'm getting a feel of you is that you like options.
Yes. Yes. Don't minimize your options. If I don't listen, and I'm the type of person, I'm not going, and I'll just say this, but I don't eat meat, but I'm not going to a steakhouse because I may not want a steak.
Right.
I
get some potato wedges, like.
Right. I may want to get like some hot wings and some nachos. I may want to get I'm more of a buffet type of person. I don't want to go to a place that has specifically that thing. So I like options. So if I love options, I know people that are like me love the same. Everyone loves. Come on, you're not gonna walk into a place and they tell you can't have that, and then you just be like, "Oh, okay, well, it wasn't meant for me anyway." What? Wait, what? Why was it not meant for you? You went in there for a reason. Now they told you can't have it and they didn't give you. No, I love options. Yes, and I love options for my people.
All right. So since we talked about options with credit cards, so we took people from not having credit card, getting them a two-way credit card. Now, because they already know what bank they're going to go to, they got the credit card, whatever limit that they got. Now they understand how to utilize that credit. Now the next thing is the strategies with the credit. Now, me personally, I enjoy having points with credit cards. So I actually look for credit cards that have points back for frequent flyer miles, and mainly because my wife said that she wanted to go cross seas to some other countries, and I was like,
Right.
cool. Well, let me get these credit cards that matches with the flights that go over there, like United Emirates, or
Mm-hmm.
that's easily transferable to those particular airlines. So back to
Yeah.
what you said, what do I want the credit to do? So that's how I look at it. All right, like my wife want to get here. Now, how do I backtrack to get the credit card that will allow me to fly over there for as free as possible while I continue to pay what I'm doing right now? So, are you a
Yeah.
points guy or a cash back guy?
Me myself, because me and planes just don't get along. It would be more cash back, cash value. And the reason why it is again because I want to have options to do whatever I want. Like I understand, the points are specifically, freaking flyer and things like that. So, and like you said, the best thing for you to do when it comes to a credit card is figure out exactly what it is you want to do with it. What is it that you want to do with it? So, are you a shopper? Do you like to shop a lot? So, if you like to shop a lot, then you want to look for cash reward type cards. If you're someone who's always on a plane every other week or every other month, yeah, you want to make sure you have credit cards that, get you points so that you can start flying for free, completely free. One of the things that was crazy for me is I've flown a plane maybe 3 times in my life. Um,
Oh wow, man!
during
Jeez.
listen,
Yeah.
me and
Okay.
planes, me and planes, listen. I'm not planes, getting, going to amusement parks and getting on rides. Like I like my feet on the ground. Like
What was the
I
options,
need,
man? You were like options.
listen,
They were like,
I
look,
need that.
if it I can't get this by car, train, I ain't taking it.
Yeah, listen, I gotta be in some type of control where I know I can tumble and roll and come up with some scrapes and some more stuff. But listen, a plane. What I need, but my pants. I don't know how to do parachutes and heights. And nah, listen, 6 foot. That's all the height I need. I don't need, you know, I don't need no other height than that. So, but yeah, so you want to know, what kind of what kind of credit, like, what is it? Again, the most important question
Yeah.
is, what do you want to do with your credit? It's the most, and you can do anything with it. That's the thing about it. What you can do anything with your credit, anything.
Now, one of the things that I'd use my credit for, the most recent thing, actually three recent things.
Mm-hmm.
I took my wife for down to Florida,
Okay.
and the flight was free because I used the
Awesome.
points.
Yes.
I know you're not with that, but even even
Hey,
recent,
listen, you
right?
got to get there, right?
Right. It was either that or I just try to. I'm not driving 13 hours. No.
I got you, man.
So and then but when it came to housing, so even staying at like hotels and stuff, so I wound up
Yes.
getting a hotel card. So now all my hotel stays are free.
Yes.
So I try to maximize the points that way, strategizing. But again, it goes back to, how you're going to actually use your credit. Now,
Yes.
most people feel as though they have a good credit score, they got the points or whatever, what have you. And we talked about it earlier, which is the authorized user.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I found out this strategy. I didn't know that people actually pay for credit lines to become an
Mm-hmm.
authorized user. Is
Yeah.
that something that you dabble in or you teach some of your clients?
No. And I've been on the outside of that for a long time. It was something that was it was like it blew up out of nowhere in 2019, I believe. In
Mm-hmm.
2019, everyone was doing trade lines, charging to put people, on the credit cards, authorized users. It was like you could not wake up and go on the social media without seeing someone, advertising, hey, I have trade lines for sale, things like that. Um, it's not something that I do.
Okay.
And the reason why there really isn't a reason. I myself, and this is just my opinion, I myself think is borderline illegal. My opinion. And the reason why
Okay.
I say that, but it's not illegal though. It's not
Right.
illegal.
Right.
But there are a lot of banks that frown upon it though. So you have to find the right banks that are willing to do that, who are willing to allow you to put 10, because you have to think
Yeah,
about it.
up to 10 people per card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to think about it. When you're charging people for these trade lines, and yes, you can make a lot of money doing it, but it's a lot of traction. So you're putting someone on this card for, maybe 30, 60, 90 days, and then you're
Yep.
taking them off and you're putting someone else on. Well,
Mhm.
think about that. If you have 10 people and you're doing that every 90 days, you're putting 10 on, taking 10 off, so that's a lot of traction that you're sending that's a lot of new names, a lot of new, but that's a lot of things you're doing, right? On that
Right.
credit card. So a lot of banks, they frown upon that. Now, I don't knock anyone for doing however they want. Like I said, credit, there's a lot of things you can do with credit. It's just when it comes to me, I would tell you that is something that I won't tell you unless you ask me. I
Okay.
will never bring something like that up unless you ask about it. My opinion on it is if it's frowned upon by so many, I don't want nothing to do with it, because I think of it like this, and I learned this from Kobe Bryant. If you cut corners for so long, it's gonna catch up to you,
Mhm.
because you're not gonna learn the full basis of that information. You have cut so many corners that now you may not even know how to double back and see, because what I want to do is
Would
I
that
want to
be
make
from the
sure.
buyers? Would that be from the buyer side cutting corners, or the person that's allowing someone else to be an authorized user cutting the
Well, that
corner?
would be from the person who would be teaching someone. I feel it would be from me teaching someone,
Okay.
because
Okay.
because I don't. What I don't want is, I don't want you to. And of course, they say, this is entrepreneurship, so you should be able to just take it. But how long is that going to last? That's those are the questions I have when it comes to these things. I don't like trendy stuff. I'm not here for a trend. Credit was a trend when I started. It was a trend. Everyone that talk, oh yeah, you another one of those credit specialists. Yeah, y'all all just came out of the woodworks. It was like, man, I really had to do my research and see, like, oh man, look at all these people who are 2 weeks ago, a day ago. Like, wow, this, so credit really wasn't. I'm not giving someone information that's just going to be trendy. I
Right.
don't want it to be something that you uh, get rich quick, or one hit wonder. Like, I don't, I just, it doesn't benefit anyone. The information, and remember, I told you in the very beginning, everything that comes out of my mouth, I want to make sure that it means something, and that
Mhm.
it not only does it stand for something, but that it can be against the test of time. I want the information that I give you. I want you to be able to tell that to, your siblings, to your kids, to the youth. I want them to be able to use that same information, those same methods, to go and get exactly what it is they want. I don't want to tell someone, hey, you can do these trade lines, and then, 6, 7, however long it takes later, that's not applicable anymore. Now, most people will say, wait, but that's kind of hard to do. Like, you would basically have to, always be straight and narrow. And it's like, I'm not really talking about straight and
It's
narrow.
not that hard to be straight and narrow. Like, just
Right.
follow the rules.
Right.
Right.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. If it's frowned upon, I, I don't see a reason to do it. Now, again, I know there's a lot of people out there that do it. A lot, especially high influencers, and I understand that. Get it however you're gonna get it, teach it however you're gonna teach it. But if you come to Dell, the credit guy, unless you bring that up, it's not gonna be a conversation we're gonna have. I'm gonna show you how to work your credit the way you need it to work for you. And then any of those other side things, you know, there's other creators for that.
Becoming a credit specialist. What are the steps that they need to do to become a credit specialist?
Ooh, okay. So to become a credit specialist, and actually, I get asked this question a few times. My answer to anyone who ever asks me this is, you got to know why you want to do it. Because again, credit has become something that's very trendy. It's something that you can make some YouTube videos. You can go to YouTube University, watch 10, videos, get you a notepad, write a whole bunch of stuff down, and then you can just, make videos about it. So my question to anyone that wants to be a credit specialist or they're looking into it is, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it to really educate people, or are you doing it for money?
Mhm.
Like what is it that you're doing it for? You have to have a why, and that why has to be bigger than money. Reason why it has to be bigger than money is because, let's say that you said, okay, I want to become a credit specialist and I want to make $100,000 a year. Okay, cool. Boom. You're a credit specialist now. You make $100,000 a year. Now what?
Right.
Oh, well, I can just make more goals. Well, you see, that wasn't that your biggest goal though? Well, yeah, but I can just add more things onto it. Well, again, if it's just money that you're after, money is so easy to obtain. I just told you it. With credit, you can do whatever you want. I'm pretty sure it's too easy to obtain money. So if credit, if this is the lane that you want to be in, is it because you want to educate people, or is it because of, like, really figure out why you want to do this? If this is something you truly want to do, I can help you. But you have to understand that it's not going to be easy. And no one says that. It's not going to be easy. I honestly got 100 no's before I got my first yes. And my
Wow.
100 no's came from people literally telling, and you hear this a lot. Oh, I got 100. No, I honestly, I counted it. I literally got 100 no's before I got my first yes. And the main reason why most people said no was because it was trendy, because I was brand new. Before I had any social media, I didn't have anything. The last social media I had was MySpace.
Mm.
That was the last social media I had.
Wow.
I don't like social media at all. I can't stand it. And it's because of the just the mind tricks and the mind games and the narratives and just it's so intoxicating on so many different levels. So when I got into it, I wanted to just be a difference. I wanted to be a page that you can go to, binge look through my entire page and never miss a beat on, man, this dude, like, I just got nothing but motivation from this page. Like, there's no drama, there's no, like, even in the comments, when someone comment, I, I want to listen to you. I want to hear what you say. I don't care if you say, oh, I'm from Dave Ramsey, he said do it. Okay, yeah, let's talk. Let's
Right.
talk. Let's do it. What do you want to talk about? Most people, they hit me in the DMs and I say, hey, look, man, just go to the post and post there. Let's talk there. Let's let the people see what people are actually talking about, because it's important. It's very important for people to have these open conversations and understand that we can come to an agreement and understand my point of view on credit, and it will always be this. Why limit yourself?
Mhm.
So anyone who's looking to jump into credit, anyone who reaches out to me, my question to you is, what is it that you want to come out of credit? Because what I got from it is not what I thought I would get. I literally joined this business because I didn't want to go to college. That is the honest truth. That is the honest truth. But what I got out of this, man, what I
Yes.
got out of joining this business, starting it, holding myself accountable, staying committed, stand on top, stand on it, stand consistent. But there's a lot of people on social media that say a lot of different things, and what I would tell anyone is, listen, you gotta chew it and spit out what you don't need. Reciprocate whatever is for you. Use that. You don't have to take the whole thing and say, man, I got this big piece and I don't even need it. No, just take the pieces that you need off of it and use that for yourself. Because one of my biggest fears that I had when I first started, was I didn't want to become like the people that I saw on social media. There's a lot of, and one of the instances, what made me jump on social media and really dive into it was I saw a video. It was a 3-minute video of a guy talking about credit. 2.5 minutes into the video, he was on fire. The video, I was so in tuned into it. I'm, lit, getting too close to the screen and everything. I'm like, man, this is fire. This is some great information. 2.5 minutes into it, he says, all you have to do to get any more information is just click my link, the link in the bio.
Wow.
If you click the link in the bio, you can get, more information. So I'm like, hey, you just did all of that just to lead me to that. So I clicked the link in the bio, and his webinar was $600. I'm like, wait, so you did all of that just to lead me to go somewhere else? And then you charge me for, so it put a fear in me, like, I don't want to be the type of person that people are afraid to come to because they look at me and say, man, I know he probably charged like $1,000, $2,000 just to have a conversation with him. Now, again, I don't knock nobody that does that. But what I'm saying is, I came into this game to really to destroy it. Destroy
Right.
it on my end. I came here to tell people, listen, you want to have a conversation? Hit me up. I'm the
Right.
person that you want to talk to, because so many people tell me, man, you have these long conversations with people and you don't charge them for nothing. Well, my response every time is, because I don't just talk about credit.
Right.
See, if I just put a price on credit, okay, that's fine. But when in this conversation we haven't just been talking about credit. How do I put a price on this? How do I put a price and say, okay, listen, okay, the first time you call me is free, but that second and third, you're gonna have to hit my cash app for about $50, $60. It's like, it doesn't make my material feel the same for me personally. For me, anyone else, you do however you see fit, but just for myself, this credit is not going to be the thing that makes me, wealthy or anything. It's not going to be the one thing that's going to, it's not that for me. Credit is, I literally saw a challenge. All my life, I've never known anything about credit. I know that there are many 30-year-old, 18, 19, 13-year-old. There's so many people out there who don't know this. I'm going to be that person. And in order for me to be that person, I know that I have to make sure I do other things that can make me be able to do whatever I want with credit legally and, on like legitly
Yeah.
and things, but like to where I don't have to worry about, okay, listen, the only way we can have a conversation is I got to charge you like $500, just for us to talk. Right. You see? And then that's what I mean by, changing the mindset, changing the narrative. Like there's more than one way to Walmart. Like I don't knock anyone for doing that. I'm just saying, when you come to me, this is not the end all be all for me. You will never be able to say, oh, well, if I don't click this link, then he's not going to be able to, make this 600. Like I just, it does nothing for me to hold this information when I know for a fact as a kid, I didn't know this. I have so many people that say, man, Dale, listen, bro, man, if I knew this information when I was 18, hold on. Anyone who's listening to this right now, if you have kids, I never want to hear you say that again. You can never say that again. The reason why is because you do have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to give them the opportunity to make sure that they're able to do whatever they want to do at 18. That's why I started this. That's why I did this. To be
Well,
able to make sure that we change that narrative, we change that mindset.
yeah. Well, because we are in the information age,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, technically, they could just sit there and Google,
Yes.
credit and learn it.
YouTube University.
Yeah, and learn it that way. But for those of the people that they listening to the show right now, instead of them leaving this episode to go try to find something else, what is it that they could do? Like, say you brought up the children, what can they do to set their children up appropriately, or what things should they do right now to set their children up with good credit?
Awesome. Yeah. So, one of the things that it made me go berserk. I have so many reasons why I do this, so many whys. But when I found out that I could pass down my credit to my kids, that changed my entire life. Like, it changed my entire, like, everything about credit to me. It changed everything about the business to me, because then it made it not about me anymore. See, that's what I mean by you have to know your why. It's not about me anymore. I
Right.
don't care if I don't make it to tomorrow. You're gonna still post this, and it's gonna get out there, and people are still gonna be able to say, "Man, I now I know how to change the narrative for my kids." So what can you do? Well, 13, 14, depending on, and again, this goes back to the credit union. This goes back to the specific type of credit card you have. 13, 14 years old, sometimes 12, sometimes even earlier, but 12, 13, 14 years old, you can put your child on your credit card as an authorized user. Now, parents, the aunties, grandma, I'm not telling you to give your that youth, that 12, 13-year old, a $25,000 credit card, a 5,000, a 10, I'm not telling you to give them that credit card because right now, what is it? It's Fortnite. What else is out right now? And
Yeah, I
there's so
don't
many things
play the
they're
game
gonna
too.
run that. You're right, exactly. There's so many things that these kids will run that card up with. So many, Pokemon, whatever the case is. Put them on your credit card as an authorized user. Okay. What this does is from the age of 13 to age of 18. All right. This is building their history up. Remember, 15% of your credit score calculation is history. So from 13 to 18, you're building their history. How many years is that? That's 5 years. Most people don't know that in order to get into the 800 credit score, you have to have 7+ years of credit history. 7+ years. So from 13 to 18, you've been building their credit up, right? And you've been on point with it. At 18 years old, instead of them going to college and in a dorm, they can go and apply for a house upstate. The importance of credit is how long you've had it. So being able to put your kids on your credit, this is what people who were born with good credit are doing. That's what I mean. Why limit yourself?
Well, I wanna jump on that one, and that is if you already started the credit card when they got to 13. Most people
Right.
already have a credit
Well,
card prior to
yeah,
their
you
kid, so that
listen,
you got that
listen.
whole extra
Right. You
additional
listen.
5 years. So you put in 12 years right on them right up top. So,
Yeah. And make sure your credit is good
oh
because
yeah,
even though they don't have credit, listen, you can destroy their credit. All right, before they get 18. Don't miss no payments or none of that. Make sure that you stay on point with your credit cards. But listen, this is a game changer. This is something that is not being. This is something that has that $500 price on it. In order for me to tell you that, you got to pay me $500. Now, again, I understand most people will pay that because they would take it more seriously. But when I heard it, I said, there's no way that I'm just not going to say it. I will say this a million times. I don't care if 5 people heard it. That means there's 5 potential, youth, kids that are going to be able to, benefit from that. That's all that matters to me. That's all that
now
matters.
when you say good credit, for the credit utilization, I know 30% is kind of the ideal or threshold not to go over.
Yeah.
Do you believe that because me personally, I try to keep everything under 2 to 1%. That's
Okay.
kind of how I use my credit.
Yeah.
Um, is that okay, or should I try to go up to 30% one time and then bring it back down? What do you think?
Okay. So again, there's more than one way to Walmart. Remember
Yep.
that. Always remember that. But what I tell people is 10%. Don't go over
Right.
10%. When you're trying to build your credit. When
Okay.
you're trying to build your credit, stay under 10%. The reason why is because think of it this way. Let's say you had a credit card with $1,000 on it, right? You have $1,000 credit card. You're using every single month, you're using $500 every month,
Mm-hmm.
which you're paying it off. Every month you're using 500, but you're paying it off. Okay. Now, when it comes time for you to get an increase, the bank is going to look at it. They're going to say, okay, all right, so you've been using 500. Okay. Oh, well, actually, this month you use 800. Okay, so if we increase your credit card to $2,000, what's going to stop you from using $1,500? What's going to stop you from using $1,800? See, these credit cards get increased not just off of you paying them on time, but off of how you're using them. That's where the building of rapport comes in at. How are you using it? See, if you have a credit card with $1,000 on it and you're using $800 of it, even if you're paying it off, I need you to understand the bank is looking at as you're living above your means. This is an advance for you. You know what a cash advance is? They're looking at this as this is a credit card cash advance for you. Whatever you do financially, this is not, you need this in order to get over that hump. And remember, the bank sees what you're paying for. So if you're not using this to pay bills and you going and buying, you know, liabilities, well, they're going to look at that and say, yeah, I'm not increasing your card to $5,000 just for you to go buy more. What? Because what I ask people is remember this, what is the first thing that we use when we get into a situation? Our credit cards.
Yeah,
That's
usually
the
credit
first
cards.
thing we use.
Yeah,
What is the last thing that we pay off when we get out of that situation?
the credit
If
cards.
at all? The credit cards.
Right.
You don't think the bank know that? The bank knows that. They know, okay, if you get into a situation, we more than likely not getting this money back. So that's why I tell people, you want to make sure that you stay away from 30%, 10% if you're building your credit. But if your credit is good and you're trying to figure some things out, like you trying to get a property or whatever the case is, there are ways that you can use that credit card, go over the 30%, and still be able to pay it back before it gets reported. So there are so many different strategies to use in order to use this credit card without having it destroy your credit.
Right. And that's what I try to stress a lot. And that's the reason why I came with the simple budget calendar was for that particular purpose, is to
Yeah.
kind of map out already, since on the statements, they'll tell you, hey, the statement is due on this date. And this is the date that we actually report to the credit bureaus. And this is the date that we need you to pay by. So
Yes.
if you have those 3 dates from that one card, because for this example, we're just talking about one card. Me personally, I have seven credit cards under
Okay.
me personally, and then under my business I have two of them. So
Okay.
because I mastered my own calendar budget, it's a lot easier for me to map out everything and pay everything ahead of time before they even get to the bureaus. And then when
Yes.
they get to the bureaus, they was like, oh yeah, well, we just saw this credit card being used for the first time. I'm like, I've been using this card for months.
Right. Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
yeah, so I know we just kind of, this is more so like I don't want to go too advanced with everybody, but this was
Mhm.
basically a nice introduction to credit, how to become a credit specialist, what you'll get from a credit specialist. It's mostly about the why, and then how to actually navigate your areas through that. And then we talked about how you get your children going with the credit. So how can someone pass that credit on, or is just passing on the knowledge itself?
It's just the knowledge. It's honestly
Okay.
just the not being afraid to have these conversations when you're, whether it be whatever, when there's a family gathering, there should be a family conversation about finances. There should be a family conversation about credit. And I have these Zoom calls all the time where I put a family on and I'll tell them, listen, it only takes one of you.
Yep.
It only takes one. And they say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, listen, who is the closest one to having the best credit? Okay. Listen, what I want you guys to do is put your resource together and make sure that his credit is the best.
Yep.
And in the next 3 to 4 months, make sure you build his credit up. Get him a secure credit card. If his credit
Or
isn't
get some
good,
credit lines authorized.
get some
Even if
credit
somebody
lines.
open up a brand new card, put his name on as an authorized user, and you can just
Yes,
use it for like
yes.
$10 or something. Yeah,
Exactly. And
I
build
got you.
his credit up. So after he builds his credit up, what he does is he comes back to the family business, get together, and now he puts 3 people on as authorized users.
Nice. Yep, because you can get up to 10. So
Yes. So those 3 people, and we only want to do 3. The reason why is because we don't want to jump everyone in all at once. We
I
want
see.
to do it in segments so that we're able to construct a real foundation. And that goes back to the Amazon understanding. You don't just want to build your credit and then just go you want to make sure that your foundation is built. So you go back, you get 3 people, you put them on as authorized users. Everyone put their resources into those 3 people, right? So those
Okay.
3 people, they build their credit up. What do? You get back to that family gathering. Those 3 people each go get 3 people.
I see.
So you're building your family up. And no matter who is gone from this situation, this is what I mean by when you said that, it really made me like dive into like, okay, what is this? It made me understand really why I do this.
Right.
Again, even if I'm not here anymore, the things that I'm talking about are so important for people to hear and understand. Credit is not okay. Credit is not an easy thing, and trust me, it doesn't. Most of the time, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Most of the
No,
time, it
it's
doesn't
really
make sense.
yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you understand the basics, the rest of it you can pinpoint and figure out as you go. As you go. One of the things that happened when it came to me being introduced to credit and me really understanding and analyzing it is I started hearing conversations that I used to hear before, but then I heard them in a different ear. And
Mm.
I would hear them and I would say, oh wait, hold on. Wait, no, that actually makes sense. Oh, hold on. You can introduce that like it things started making more sense. So it opened your lifestyle up to being able to understand way more ways that you can have and what you can do with credit than for it to just be for a car and a nice house. There's so like it's endless possibilities. So when it comes to just your question, my answer is do not be afraid to pass this information on. The person who's listening to this right now, you need to have 7, 8 people listen to this. This needs to be at the family picnic. And I'm saying this because it's very important that we get this information. Information is the key to success. That's the key to it. It's
Yeah.
the information, and we lack that information. We all have smartphones, right? We all have smartphones. We all
Yep.
have Google, Siri, Alexa. We can ask all of these questions, right? You said this earlier. We can ask all of these questions to get all this information. The problem is if you went to your phone and said, "Hey Google, hey Siri, hey Alexa, how do I fix my credit?" She's going to give you 100 things. How
Yep.
do you know which ones apply to you? That's where I come in at. I come in and help you break the generational curses. I help you understand that, okay, these things right here, this is what you actually need to be focused on. So you want to make sure that you don't hide this information.
Now I do have a I only have a stickler with the word curse because curse always means a bad thing.
Right.
Can we change that to change the generational mindset, financial mindset?
Well, yeah, I mean, change the mindset is my favorite,
Right.
but when I say break the generational curse, and yes, it does mean a bad thing. I mean, you can see on the shirt, it
Yeah.
has the change and everything, but at the bottom it says, education and a business owner. And that's basically what I mean by the curse. Most of us don't believe that we're business owners. No matter what type of thing you're doing, I don't care if you're doing, Uber, if you're, if you do, editing, like I don't care whatever your profession is, that is your business. That is your brand. Like you should have an LLC on that. Again, I'm not telling you that, you need to, figure out how to make $1 million with it. If that's just something you're doing on the side, you should be able to understand that there are so many things that you are leaving on the table. Shout out to my sister who told me this, 2 years ago. Man, you are leaving too much money on the table. Like you need to put yourself in the understanding that, you have a business mind. We got to come out of the consumer mindset and go into the business mindset. So when I say breaking generational curse, yes, the word curse itself is negative, but that's why I have changed the mindset, because when we actually look at it, we're actually saying we're breaking ourselves away from the things that they say we're supposed to have, the
Right.
things that they say we're supposed to be doing, the things that we're supposed to be thinking about, or how we're supposed to feel. In actuality, we're putting ourselves into the most important things. And that's understanding that we are our own business and that we are in lack of information, whether it be $1,000 or it be free. We are lacking it. And even though we have these smartphones, for some reason, and this is just my opinion, but if your phone's not making you no money, it's not smart. My biggest dare, my biggest challenge to anyone, double dog dare, 1%. Just be 1% better every single day. Every single day, 1%. That's it. Just be 1% better every single day. I say this in every Zoom, every conversation I have. 1% better. That's it.
I'm glad that you actually said it because I did a whole episode on that.
You did?
Yeah, I
Oh
did.
man, I'm on it.
And it's funny
It's in
that you
your.
talk about it, like because it shows that this stuff uh is nothing new. It's
Mhm.
just that we just got to do it.
Yeah, we're not talking. It's not enough of us talking about it. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
It's not new, and that because people ask me all the time, man, are you ever afraid of running out of content? It's like no,
It's
because there's
evergreen
new
content.
people. Yeah, it's like there's new people finding me every single day that haven't heard the things that I said 2 years ago. So I'll never run out of content. And then the people who've been here for 2 years, they need to hear those things again because we're all going through them, at one particular point in time. So no, I will never run out. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things is being 1% better every single day, just 1%. And that's funny that you have that. I'm gonna go watch it. I promise you, I am
Oh,
because
thank you, thank you.
it's one of the things that like when I tell it to people, and you probably did the same thing. You broke it down into decimals, right? Like you broke like
Oh, I didn't
one
go that far,
percent
right?
of a day. Like if you looked
Yeah, I
at
did do it that
1%,
way. Yep, I
yeah,
did go
one.
that far to
Okay,
how many
yeah,
minutes?
one
Yep,
percent in a day. It's like what 14.5%. And
yep.
I tell people all the time. I say, listen,
It's 14 minutes.
14.5%. Matter of fact, let's just make it even 15, right?
Yep.
And I'll say that, and they'll say, wait, even 15? Wait, Dale, that's an odd number. I say, yeah, but did you get the message? See, I just challenged you. I challenged you to do something better for yourself, and then I gave you an opportunity to go past the small little detail that I gave you that didn't add up. And that was to say 15 was an even number. You only heard that. You didn't hear the part of me saying be 1% better, and it only takes you 14.5%
Yep.
of each day. Each
Mm-hmm.
day. Each and
Which
every
is
single day.
it's just
I
like
ask people all the
15
time, what
minutes.
do you see? What do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I tell them all the time, I see myself at least being 1,825% better.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to start using that.
That's
I'm gonna have to
1%
start
better every
using that.
single day for 5 years, at
Yeah.
least. If nothing else, 1,825% better.
There you go. Yeah, because I try to. The reason why I did that episode was to talk about how I was growing this show. And like
Mm,
every episode was something different. I was trying something visually. I was trying audio. I was cutting something different. So every time you saw me put out content,
yeah,
it was a little different, but it was the same message.
right.
Just trying to grab
Beautiful.
the different sides of the house.
Okay.
Oh man. So going back to
That's
this.
that's crazy. I like that's mind blowing right now that you did an episode of 1%. I can't. I'm putting it in my calendar. I will be watching that tomorrow. I will be watching that tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Because it'll be funny. Like we probably talk about a lot of the same stuff, and
Okay.
with this content being a good thing and credit, because there's so many different avenues. We didn't talk about
Hmm.
disputing
Right.
hard inquiries. We didn't talk about with Chase with their 524 rule, which is
Hmm.
just you can't have more than 5 hard inquiries within a 24-month period.
Right.
We didn't get into um, how to do bankruptcy and how the credit cards are impacted with that. We
Right.
didn't talk about the freezing of your credit, the
Yes.
sub companies under Xperi
Second
and
bureaus.
Equifax.
Yes.
Yep.
Hmm.
So we didn't dive into all that, but like I said, this episode really was to kind of get. It seems like it's just really finding your why you even want to get into credit,
Yes.
and then understanding once you're in your why, then you can kind of figure out your strategies backwards. But this is obviously starting fresh. When we start getting to
Yes.
people with some horrible stuff, I think
Exactly.
I had to bring you back on for that one just to kind of just hit them, hit every last one
Right.
of them, just dive right in.
And you
Uh,
see, and that's one of the important things. Like, and what you're saying, that's how I go into every conversation. Every conversation I go, this is how I talk to them. Do you understand what credit is? Okay, what is it that you want to do with your credit? Let's say everything is wiped away. You have a 740 credit score. Your credit report is built correctly. You don't just have a 740. Your credit report is built correctly. What are we actually doing with it? So many people, they have the wrong perspective of it, or they heard it from so many different places, and then they come to me, and they're usually the maddest when they come to me. They're usually the most educated when they come to me, and I'll just let them talk. Let them talk and listen, and then when they're finally done, I'll say, okay, now let's analyze and break this down and see where where you're really having a problem with. Because most people, like I said, everything we talked about the core, just how to start. Mm-hmm. What is the reason for start? That resonates with anyone.
Man, that's awesome. I didn't want to finish the show. I didn't want to ask you any more questions.
I can give you one more. Change the mindset, and I promise you it will change the narrative. If you change the mindset, I promise you it will change the narrative.
Because that's the whole purpose that we do all this anyways, not for us, because obviously we went through the mess. And I think that's what it is. A lot of people are afraid to come forward, is that, I think I heard this from Chris Hogan before he got fired from the Dave Ramsey show. He said that if you went through the mess, you're qualified to be a messenger. And I was like, well, then let me keep going with my podcast, because I've been through some mess. Right. I guess I do qualify.
Right, exactly.
People like what it's like to be down in the trenches and how to get out of it. You know?
And what it does is, and that's why I said in the very beginning, I remember being on the other side, looking at someone like me, like, man, he talking, but I can't get, you can't lose that. If like you said, if you've been through the mess, you can be the mess, but don't ever forget the mess. Don't ever forget that, because it's always, I tell people all the time, it's always going to be hard, and I don't want it any other way. I don't want this to be easy, because if it was easy, we wouldn't do it. Like, seriously, we would not do it. But there's no point in doing it. There's no discipline. There's no consistency. We can just wake up every day and just, oh yeah, okay, I'll probably just do that later. Well, it's like, no.
Because you said that, it brings up the question, and then I'll get to the 4 questions. But
okay.
Because
maybe I should have said that.
No, it brings up the question of, should you? I mean, I know we talked about leaving credit for your kids or so forth. Mm-hmm. Should we even put them early on and let them get their own credit card first, so they can go through some mess? Or is that something we got to protect them from going forward?
Okay, right. So I don't, and that's, man, I'm telling you, that's a good question. That's a really good question, because it's like, you got to let them go out and make their mistakes and get messy, and learn from them and things like that. But that, in that instance, if you're doing that, then you're just repeating what you did. If you just, that's like saying,
yep, okay.
That's like saying, okay, I know I walked down that path and there's quicksand over there, and it took me so long to get out of it, but I set it back up to exactly how it was to help to, and I'm just going to allow that person, I'm going to allow my kid to just walk down there and experience it, and go through the same thing without saying anything about it, because I want them to learn that lesson. And it's like, there are just some things that there's some lessons you don't need to learn. Like that's just not being able to do something because you didn't know is the reason why we're in the position we're in now. Because our parents, our grandparents, they didn't tell us this stuff. Some of them, but remember, that's where we got the horror stories from, though. So
that's true, because
it's not that they knew or didn't know. It's that they only knew a bit of it, and they told us the bad parts of it. They didn't tell us what it could actually do, and maybe because they didn't know. But that's fine. But I'm not going to tell someone else to say, "Hey, hold on. No, you got to make him go through the mud. You went through the mud. No. We got to change that." I don't want to see, at 18 years old, a kid should be able to not walk out of the house, because I really think that a kid should be there until they like 23, 24, because that's when the mind really develops. But that's a whole nother segment.
Yeah.
The mind develops at 24, 25. But there is no reason to make them think about it. If you gave if a kid got an 18-year-old got a $5,000 credit card, you already know what they're going to do with it. If you're saying you're not going to give them any information, you're just going to let them make their own mistakes. Well, you made that same mistake. What did we do when we was 18 and we got that credit card for $1,000 on it? We went and we spent it.
Yep.
We went and spent it and never paid it back. Why is that a lesson that you need to teach them when you can just the fear of right, the fear of telling, because now not only are you helping them destroy their credibility, because remember, that's what we're talking about, credibility. You are destroying the credibility that you have with this bank. Well, what happens when you trust someone and they destroy your credibility? You kind of really don't trust them anymore. So why would we? No, I would not tell anyone to allow their kids to go through that when you can just teach them, hey, listen, there's no reason for you to do that. There's absolutely no reason for you to do that whatsoever, because all it's going to do is bring this. And then that's a conversation we never have, is what happens if you don't do this? We always talk about the good things that come out of it and what you can get. We never talk about what happens if you go down this route, what will actually happen.
Not telling them is a disservice. And then also putting your own personal spin and opinion is a disservice because you only have a skewed view. Yes. Or even tell them your personal view, but also say, hey, there are other people who have done better. I would recommend you reach out to them. Like, I see what you're saying is like they don't provide another resource. Yes. They kind of provide their own opinion and just let it dive in.
Yeah. It's like again, when you ask Google or Siri, hey, how do I fix my credit? Like, you're only getting that perspective. But if you go to YouTube, they're going to give you a million, different people that are talking about it. So it's like, okay, like you said, it's a disservice if I tell a parent, hey, you have to let your kids go through the mud in order to understand how bad your credit can actually get. What? I don't ever want to see a kid go through that, because I know at 18 years old, the information I have in my head about credit at 18, what? Are you, right. Man, listen, it's a different situation at 18. Yeah. Like this, there's nothing like it. So, and what I tell people is, you understand, when I say 18 and you get that, oh man, what, at 18 are you? That I want you to give that to them. That feeling that you have, give that to them so that they can understand, like, man, my parents, they gave me this at 18. It changes the mindset, it changes the narrative, and it changes the foundation of the entire family. The entire generation changes off of you explaining financial literacy to the youth. It's something that's not taught. Why is it not taught? Let's not keep asking why it's not being taught and just start teaching it. We got to know the information first, though. We can't just do the one-sided thing.
Yeah, and I got so many questions here. We can be here for hours. All right, this is my last one.
Hey, listen, go ahead, man. Hey, I'm here for as long as you need.
All right, then, because one of the things I always say is, like, you're not going to look up a recipe to make a pie if you don't already have a plan to make a pie. Because it's like, like how you said, when you just providing information about a bad incident, but without providing a solution, then you're not going to bother to even look for a better way that you went through it because you had a horrible experience. Mm-hmm. So it's just trying to get people out of that mindset of a bad experience, meaning that is the end of your education on that particular topic. I think it's more so the beginning of you to actually start exploring that topic on why did you fail, or why did you had a horrible experience when everybody else over here having a great time. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that negative.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that real fast, what I tell people is, listen, stop looking at my chapter 25. You have not even opened your book yet.
Nice.
That's how you get that one-sided. Oh man, hold on, but Dale, you doing it so amazingly. I did it exactly how you said do it, and it didn't work. I'm done with this. Wait, hold on. You looking at me, I'm 20 chapters ahead. Like, you You just barely opened your book. Like, you haven't even looked at the first page. You
Right.
haven't read the contents or nothing. Like, how are you? You can't judge what I'm doing versus, like, you haven't even started yet. So, I mean, yeah. So that's just to piggyback off of what you're saying. Like, if all you're doing is basing how to make that pie off of how someone else did it, and oh, she said do it this way, and it'll come out perfectly, but I put it in my 1968 oven, and she got a 2023 oven,
Why you
and
gotta be
she
so
said put it
specific?
on. I'm just saying, like, it's like, you didn't even, like, what? You
Right.
didn't even, like, you don't even have the same light. Like, you have not, we don't connect. The goal that we're looking for may be in the same category, but it's not going to end up the same. Like, we're not going the same path. Your pie, you got your ingredients and stuff from Publix. I went to the market, the farmers market. Like, we're not the same. So you have to base your information off of what you have in front of you, and then tweak it as you go. You're never going to hit the first thing on the first try. And if you do, congratulations. I'm proud of you. Now duplicate it. To build it, listen, you're not building something that's going to last 1 year. You're building something that's going to last a lifetime and beyond. And that's going back to your death, comment. Credit can last beyond your life.
Mhm.
What you're building with your credit, if you have kids or whatever the case is, it's your obligation to make sure that the next ones, have that opportunity to continue what you've already done. So, yeah, man, it's very important, man.
Yeah. All right. So final four questions. Number one, what does wealth mean to you?
That's a good one. What does wealth mean to me? Time freedom, um, legacy. It means the same way people think when they think of Coca-Cola, when they think of Pepsi, when they think of Nutra Ninja, when they think of refrigerators, the same way you think of Jergens and hangers, like those things that they've just been around, Walmart, McDonald's, Taco Bell, In-N-Out Burger. It to me, wealth means something that's gonna be here even after I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Even after I'm gone, it's something that I built. So the foundation, I built the foundation so well that it lasted past my life. It's here for generations upon generations after me. Wealth has nothing to with me. It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with my name. I ask people all the time, why is designer things the most important name that you have, when your name should mean way more than what you're wearing? If I had something that said McClain on it, I feel a million times better than anything that is designer would ever make me feel. That designer says $5,000, but something with my last name on it is priceless. Change the mindset.
What is your favorite financial book or non-financial book?
So I don't have a favorite yet. I'm dibbling and dabbling here and there. I really haven't gotten into books, educational books, as much as I want to. But I have a goal this year to read 10 of them. So far, I've read 4. Um, I think one of the ones that stand out the most, which everyone knows, is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like, that's probably the one that's known the most. That I can probably say I've enjoyed the most. I read it twice, and I listened to the audio. I listened to the audio twice also. So I read the book twice, and then I listened to the audio twice, which was very fascinating. To read it and then listen to it, it was actually pretty fascinating. But as far as a favorite, I don't have a favorite yet. Not yet.
Okay. Well, if you don't have a favorite, I got plenty of books behind me, but
Okay,
these are
awesome. Yeah, please
this one
tell me.
here is called The Power of Habit.
Oh, why do
This one,
we? Why
if
we
this,
do?
oh, go ahead.
What did it say? Why we do what we do in life and business? The power of habit. I'm writing that down right now.
Yep, and it's by
Okay.
Charles Duhigg.
Okay. Charles Duhigg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this book, the reason why I really like this book, it's a good reference book, just to kind of understand the mindset on why we do what we do, and
Okay.
also placing those barriers to kind of block some of those triggers. So, like,
Mm,
say we all have our McDonald's, right? You know, when you're driving
yes.
down the street, you just see McDonald's, but then you realize, oh man, my wallet is like on the passenger side, or it's in my bag or something like that, and it creates
Yeah. Yeah.
area, or you got to make the U-turn to get into the and it's going busy, you know, saying traffic time, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, so that's a barrier that you have in place, because if it wasn't there, you'd be right at there McDonald's drive-through. You know,
Right. Right.
to understand what those triggers are and then try to navigate through them. That's what and he has a lot of that stuff within the first few chapters.
Okay.
The rest of it is just stories, but
Right.
I would highly recommend that one for you.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to check that out because speaking of McDonald's, one of the crazy things that I understand now that I'm older is, when my mom used to say, we have food at home. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I challenge anyone to look at your last three bank statements. See, we got these debit cards and Mastercards, and we've been able to just swipe and just go and not think about it. I challenge anyone to look at your last 3 months of transactions. I guarantee you, if you're not on your P's and Q's, you're gonna wait a minute. Hold on, I gotta call. I think someone had my credit card because there's some charges over here that I don't know. No, you actually were here, and so
Right.
I challenge people to go back and look at that because it's one. So yeah, I definitely I'm gonna read that book. That sounds like a good book that would it would intrigue me a lot.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm glad I could help you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely, man. Pass the
dude, I
knowledge.
really think that you sure you didn't look at my page at all? Because I did talk about, like, I did have a post on there. I was like, yo, you got food at home. And
I promise you. I promise you, I didn't.
wow.
I watched your last video. Oh,
Yeah.
was it on your IG page or is
Yes.
it in your video? No, I haven't been on. I promise you, I haven't been on your IG page.
Okay.
I just watched that one video, and then there was another video I watched. But no, I haven't been on your page.
Yeah. Like I said, this is crazy. Like how everything you just come into, like with the 1%. This I was like, this is so cool. I never had any
Yeah, that's
to
awesome.
repeat it, so it's really cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that just means that we on the same frequency wave, man. This was
Yeah,
supposed to happen, so
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome. That's awesome.
All
I'm
right.
gonna have to post that now.
Right. Number 3, what did you learn from your worst job?
My worst job. See, the thing is, I honestly, I haven't had a bad job. Every job I've had has pretty much been calculated. Now, I can say my worst experiences
Okay.
I've had from two different jobs. I've never had a bad job though. Um, I worked for Waste Management. Uh, I worked for them for a couple of weeks, and it was a Friday. And a lot of people were saying that the big boss was coming in on Monday, and that he wasn't a nice person. That he usually came in and fired people on the spot, and he would, you know,
Jeez.
argue with people, like all kind of things. Like, yeah, it was a lot of negativity that everyone was saying, and people were like, nervous. Even the managers and supervisors there were like, man, we gotta get everything together, and so uh, I quit that Friday. I told them, yeah, I'm not about to be dealing like what y'all up here like y'all grown men are afraid of another man. Like I don't want that comment. So that was probably my worst experience because I should not have quit that job. It was a good job. I was making great money. I wasn't smelling too right when I was coming home, but I was making good money. So I would say that would be a worse experience for me because I shouldn't have quit. Just because of everyone else's I don't know what you would call it, insecurities or fear or whatever they had. I didn't have it. It's just when I saw everyone so scared, it 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 made me look at them differently. It made me not even respect working around that environment. So that would probably be like my worst experience I've ever had with a job is I quit because everyone else was not manly, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess it goes back to the credits and like how we just talked about
Right.
that one view. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing. I tell people all the time, my business, everything about my life, has in it has blown my business up. Like I use my life experiences to really navigate my business. Like those I love when someone says no to me. I love it. Most people don't like that. A lot of people say, hey, "What are you?
They not
Is
must be
something wrong
married
out
then.
there?" It's like listen. Hearing the word no only makes me more excited for that yes. I only need one. Only need one for it to be a domino effect. So that would probably be my worst experience. Outside of when I worked for Target, they fired me because I was late for my break, which was insane. Yeah, I know. And they saw me on the floor. I literally was going to my break, and the customer had stopped me to ask me to help them get something off the top shelf. I helped her do that, and then I went to my break, and then they called me. I was like, "Yeah, you're fired because you were late on your break." So yeah, that's probably one of the stupidest, worst experiences. But yeah, outside of that, every job I've had, I've loved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother story. I would like to interview the actual supervisor that did that, man. That, jeez.
Listen, yeah, that was yeah. It wasn't a good experience after she told me I was fired.
I might have to talk. I might have to do a show on, you know, quick turnaround jobs. Like
Right.
it's like the stupidest thing you ever heard somebody get fired from.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
the craziest
absolutely.
one, Joe. Yeah,
Yeah, I literally from Target, I got fired because I was late for my break twice, two different times. I was late for my break and they fired me.
that's crazy. All right, last question. My favorite one. What is your favorite pastry?
My favorite pastry.
Yeah,
You said this is your favorite question?
yeah, it's my favorite question because I actually go out and
Oh,
buy the
okay.
pastries that people say that are pretty good.
Oh, okay. Well then you're probably not gonna like my answer because I, I don't I don't eat I don't like pastries. I don't eat sweet stuff.
Oh man.
I can't think of a pastry that I enjoy. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. My favorite thing to eat is an oatmeal pie, oatmeal cream pie.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know if
Oh
you ever
yeah,
had
yeah,
that before.
yeah. I go through a
That's
box.
that. Hey, listen, listen. It's a lifesaver. That's as far as outside of that, I don't like too much of anything else. Sweet wise.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do you get the jumbo ones or just the small ones?
No, just the small ones. Those jumbo
Okay.
ones are not. Those are plastic. That's plastic. You're talking the jumbo ones that are just like the small ones. Those jumbo ones are plastic, but the double deckers, I
Yeah.
can hit those. I hit
Okay.
those, but the small ones are the ones. Those are the go-to in the little long box. They
Yeah.
come in 12. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
down. Yeah, it go
Okay.
down. Yeah, it go down with a box of oatmeal cream pies. That is something that I will never give up. I've had that since I was a kid, and it goes down.
Nice. All right, sir. So, this is the very last question, but this is a question about you. So, where can everybody find you on the internet?
Oh, this is an awesome question. The answer is Google me, McClain. I put a lot of money into marketing, and I'm very proud to be able to say that. Google, Siri, Alexa, AskJeeves, um, Binge, Dale McClain. Del McClain everything. I will pop up on any of your search bars. YouTube is Del McClain. Instagram is Del McClain. Facebook, I have a Facebook, and I need to get on it. It may come up Del McClain, but it also may come up under my business name, Peaceful Balance Restored. But everything is pretty much Del McClain. You can learn about me, follow my socials. I have magazines that did stories on me. My YouTube page, I have stories about myself, who is Del, all of that. So everything is Del McClain, DelMcClain. Just Google it and you will find me. And everything you need to know about me. Well, mostly everything. Business wise.
There you go. Right. All right, Del. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. I want to thank you for your time. I know this has been a really lengthy episode, but I really think that a lot of people should at least take away one thing. So if you actually listen to the show and you got one lesson out of this, a reason why you need to start learning your credit, and the reason why you get into credit, I want you to go ahead on either like, subscribe, or even leave a comment on Apple Music, because it really helps a lot of people to find me and also to find Del and more about his mission and mission space. So I want to thank you all for being on the show. All right, this is the About That Wallet podcast. I'm out. Peace.